Welcome to Graham Kerr's Kitchen. It's really two programs in one. This is a series that appeals to your creative side. Food that is sumptuous stuff. How could that be? This is a program about people who want to eat healthy and reduce calories. Actually, it's about food with an aromatic quality that fills the nose. Oh, sure. But it's also about keeping my arteries clean by reducing fat. But it doesn't mean a thing if the food isn't rich and colorful. Maximize the flavor. Okay, but I must have healthy food that I can cook in minutes. I must minimize the risk. So welcome to Graham Kerr's Kitchen, where we get our heads together just for you. Hey, welcome back once again to two programs in one, literally. I mean it, because you see, we're going to combine forces with missing persons. Actually, it's the funniest business because Marilyn Schermerhorn was to be our guest today, and the one with whom we're having a long-winded conversation. I mean, we know that she's Norwegian, we know that her grandmother brought her up and she loves to cook, and we know that she would just adores onions, you see, and sausages and things like that, which is wonderful news. Except that we actually managed to get Marilyn Schermerhorn on the phone just now. I just wanted to call her. I don't know anything about you, she said. I remember you years ago as the Galoping Gourmet. I don't know anything about onions. And so we've been tracking it down, and we can't find Marilyn. So here is a picture of Marilyn. Well, if you didn't see a picture of Marilyn then, that's because we haven't found her yet. Marilyn, if you're out there in the Congo or someplace, we know that we go out from Star Television all over the world, that part of the way. If you're there, boom, 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 hey, call home, would you mind? I mean, we need to hear from you. We want a photograph of you to put you in the book. All right, now let me tell you, in case you happen to have lived next to Marilyn, she was in Cupertino in California, cup of tea, oh, and it sounds like that, in California, and this is what she liked. You may remember her. She needs to lose 70 pounds, by the way. If she's in the Congo, she might have done that by now. Italian, Chinese, and Mexican food. If you're in the Congo, you won't enjoy it. Broiling is a good cooking method. You love creme brulee, which could be the reason for the 70 pounds. Caraway, mustard, and mint are your favorites, and we really use those to develop this dish for you. Sausage and chicken, and we found a smoked chicken sausage for you, with apples and potatoes. Darling, it's hard to imagine anybody who would have gone to so much trouble. Marilyn, call home. Okay? Come through, the rest of you, and I'll show you what we've done for her. Well, actually, as always, what we do is we look at some kind of technique as a springboard, and then we use that and ingredients that we love, and that's why I do the food preference sheet, so that I can do things for you, and that's real interactive television. So I'll tell you what we did this time. The actual technique is to, 1, 2, 3, 4. I need 1 teaspoonful of oil. The actual technique is to take some onions, as you see, rather a lot of onions there. There are 2 large onions like this, very finely sliced. And you know, there's so much air in an onion that when they start to heat up, the air escapes from it and the whole fibrous mass collapses. And I'll show you just how much that cooks down to in just a moment. First of all, a look at the onion if you can possibly get them. Throughout the year, there are different kinds of sweet onions, and they always start out in the spring with called a spring sweet from Texas. And all of these onions are somewhat the same. Oh, boy. I shouldn't have said that, because the Vidalia people and the Maui people and the Walla Walla people were saying, oh, come on, ours is best. And I understand that. You're all best. But they're all got a lot of water content and very sweet, okay? So you slice those up together, and what happens, you can do it with an ordinary onion, by the way. Don't worry about me. It's just that if you do it with sweet onion, you'll get a much darker onion sauce as a result of it. I'm putting that around, and it's gradually darkening as you look at it. Now, as it's frying, you would add a teaspoonful of mustard seed, which you can find in any store, you know, where the herbs and spices are, a teaspoonful of caraway, and a teaspoonful of dill weed. Okay, 3 teaspoonfuls. Now, it's quite strong and well flavored, so you may want to cut back on that a little bit the first time you do it. just in case the children say, "Oh, mummy, mummy." It's delicious, you know. They may say, "Oh, mummy, mummy," I love it. Let's hope so. Just stir it around. Do you know what we used to do with our children when they didn't eat? We'd starve them until the next meal. It's wonderful how it worked. Okay, now you just simply keep on sauteing that away, and in the end, it'll come down and look like this. You see, it's almost gone to nothing, hasn't it? Those are deep brown, and to that, you then add stock. Now, this is chicken stock because I'm going to be dealing with chicken today, but it could be beef, could be veal, guess it could be fish stock. I haven't thought of that, but it's whatever stock is appropriate to the dish that you're cooking. And then some red wine. This is dealkalized wine. You know that's what I use, but you know always I've said to you that's your choice. So you stir that together. Now, the thing to finish this off, all I would do is just 1 tablespoonful of arrowroot, a little bit of liquid, and just take it from the side, pour it in, and stir it up, and it would thicken, and then I could serve it. But I wanted to do something else to that as well. So that's the technique, okay? Just that. Now let's see how that whole onion sauce gets on the menu.
Today on Graham Kerr's Kitchen, bangers and brown onion sauce, smoked chicken and apple sausage with mashed buttermilk potatoes, and a puree of rutabagas and mustard.
Okay, Marilyn, this is your dish. Number one is I want to make a little bit of mustard here, first of all. There's all kinds of mustard around nowadays, but the very first of the mustards was developed by some people called Coleman in England, still around, and no big deal sort of nowadays, really, in comparison with the stuff that you knock on Rolls Royces and ask for. But you make this by putting 4 teaspoonfuls of powder on there. And Coleman's was the very first, this organization, very first organization in the world to go truly international. Coleman's mustard was before Coca-Cola ever sort of went across boundaries and things like that. The mustard was there. Isn't that amazing? So what's done in every British hotel in the world, wherever they are, aged head waiters mix up the mustard every day and put it in little blue containers in silver condiment sets. And,
Are you ready there, James? Yes, sir, the mustard's almost ready.
And by the time that it's ready, it's all caked on the side of the little blue thing up the side, and it goes brown, and it's horrid. But anyway, apart from that, I've got here a John of Gold apple. All right, like this. This is a John of Gold, but any apple will do, basically. But I thought you'd like to see that one. It's a rather attractive apple. And this has been sliced up, a little bit of lemon on it to save it from browning. Very fine, thin slices, okay? Just one apple. And cored, of course, and dropped in to the top of that thin, not thickened, you know, that's the reason why I didn't thicken it, of the onion sauce. Now, so that onion sauce and the red wine is there, all put on the top, and it's just beginning to bubble. Raise the heat under there just a little bit, and we'll cook those apples through so they absorb all of that onion and everything else to it. Okay, next item on the agenda. We've got here some sausages. Bet you never thought you'd ever see me with a sausage. But these sausages are made by Aidells, A-I-D-E-L-L-S, and they're in San Francisco. It sounds as if I'm an endless commercial thing, but these are very unusual things. Now, this is made of smoked chicken, and apple. And they are just delicious, and they're low fat. Isn't that amazing? And he's such a nice man who does this. All right, so what I'm going to do is take 3 apples there, and then take 3 sausages. This is for 4 people. This is for 18% of your calories from fat. Now, if you want to go to 30% of calories from fat, then you can add another sausage, and you can have one big, fat, plump sausage all to yourself. But if you're in the 18-22 mark, it's 3/4 of a sausage. I'll show you how that works. Now, here, in case you don't have, and we found that we didn't have today, an apple corer, you can actually core an apple with this thing of mine. You've seen me bash garlic with it a million times. Well, this actually cores an apple in a rather unusual way. The only trouble is trying to get the core out. then the trouble is trying to get your finger out. Ooh. No, oh well, it's in there. We'll see, it'll rot eventually. So this is clear and clean. Put it into there and just pop that into an oven, 350 degrees, half an hour. And that will be enough. That's all you need to do. Just bake the sausage. So much better than actually that business of broiling them. I know they're nice because you get that crisp skin on the outside or frying them, but they sit there sweltering in their own grease. This way they'll come out gently, and what I want to do with those is just lift them up out of the grease because they do get a little greasy as they cook. Leave them there to just cool off a little bit. Now you see these apples? Now, and that's why they look, isn't it a shame? It's just like you and I mean, after a certain number of years, we go that way, don't we? But these, what I'd like to suggest is that you take the skin off and then make a puree of those apples, right? And I'll show you what that looks like in just a sec. Now, they're so nice, and when they're baked, the apple puree, which looks like this, by the way, the apple puree is so much denser because the evaporation has taken place, and it's a perfect apple puree, really good. All right, I'll show you how that works in a moment. Now, rutabaga. Rutabaga. Rutabaga is how it is said in Sweden, and what that means, ruta means round, and bega means root. So round root. See? Perfectly reasonable. You see, I'm wearing my Scottish tie today because I am a Scot. And so this is a very British dish, you know, bangers and mash, basically, that we're doing here. But in England, we don't call these things rutabaga because we don't know how to pronounce things like that. I mean, as a Scot, I'd talk like that. No, I don't. What am I? Yes, I. And I wouldn't be able to say rutabaga. You know, I'd feel stupid. And so, as a result, we call this vegetable a Swede. It's a terrible thing to have to say about a nation, isn't it? But that's true. All right, now, when you've trimmed this off all the way around, there. Now, that is a fully trimmed rutabaga. So what you do is you put those pieces on one side, and they can be used as a stock. Ah, the little lid is telling me that's going a bit too fast, so we'll just leave it off the side. And then you cut these into quarters. Now, so stock, you know, the peel on the outside, providing it's nicely washed. You don't put earth or unwashed peel in a stock. So scrub them nicely. And then these are done into quarters. And you see how orange they are? Well, because of the orange, you've got beta-carotene in that, which is a fabulous antioxidant, cancer fighter, and things of that nature. This doesn't have a lot of it in it, but it has some, much more than turnip anyway. And these are popped into boiling water to preserve that vitamin or vitamin content. So those dropped in there, and they take just half an hour to cook. Right? And you put a lid on the top of those and cook them half an hour. Now, these are the ones that have been cooked. So let's drain that off. Now, this I would never... Oh, thank you. There's a little bowl there. I would never drain the liquid in which something right down the drain, because that can be added to stock, and it's teeming with, well, aroma. I mean, it needn't have all that much nutrition, but boy, I'll tell you, it's got aroma. Now, this is my pogo stick. This is the nearest I get to aerobic exercise, is bouncing around with this thing. If you see what's happening, it's these rungs are set at an angle so that they come down at an odd angle from the top, and it actually does a very good job of mashing. Let me show you. In this case, I don't want one of those absolutely superfine, wonderful, soft, fluffy vegetable. I want a slightly coarse vegetable. So I want it sort of what you call food of the people, so that it's got some substance to it. So that's enough of those up and down routines. Huh? Then a little bit of freshly ground pepper in there, white if you like, but black lets people know either that there's trouble in your house, or the fact that there is someone who knows how to use pepper. And they can work that one out for themselves. All right, so that's done. It smells wonderful, and it's nice and hot, so we can just put that back on the stove, put a lid on the top of that, and that's going nicely. I had one of those. I thought just for a moment, I know where Marilyn is. I'm getting kind of a sixth sense, but then it flashed away and I forgot. All right, here is an Idaho potato, and it's a very nice potato. And this one is peeled and cut into 4, And we need 4 of those, right? And when those have been cooked, they cook for 20 minutes. Right? And after 20 minutes boiling, you do a very odd thing. You drain the water out and you put a towel on top. Yes, a towel. It's delicious, actually. High fiber. And when you take the towel back after about 15 minutes, look what you get. Potatoes which are dry. This is potato flour on the outside. And all the sogginess, a potato is soggy with water. I mean, literally sloshing around the pot. And when you mash it up, and it kind of lies there on the plate. Instead of being like this kind of thing, it's light and fluffy and floury and wonderful. So you just take your plunger into this and just make sure that that one is beautifully crushed in the same way as the Swedes. Or rather, I should have said the rutabagas. Okay. Now, that's almost done. What you get then is a half cup of buttermilk. That's 1% fat buttermilk. And just put that in. And it lightens the whole thing up wonderfully. You could say to me, but Graham, you could say, hello. You could say, you went to all that trouble to make it light and fluffy, and now you're soaking it down again. But I'm soaking it down with buttermilk, not with water, steaming inconsequential water. Over here, I just got some water which has come to the boil, talking about water, and into that, I want to put a little mint, all right? So about 4 leaves of mint, drop that in. And then a tablespoonful of brown sugar. Pop that in together, and just get that boiling up together. Now, there's almost no liquid in there at all, but it's really hot, and it's coming to the water now. You take these thawed peas, 2 cups of thawed peas, drop those onto the top, and you let that boiling, minty sweet water percolate up and heat those peas wonderfully. Okay, we can turn those down. Those are boiling now. That's doing. Let's, since I've done, I know. It's just such fun. It's just like having you in my kitchen at home. Sorry, dropped me nutmeg into the mashed potatoes. I love to have people in my kitchen at home, except Trina. For some reason, that's my wife. Trina and I collide in the kitchen. Did I put pepper in there already? No, in the other one, didn't I? This is white pepper, definitely. It's very bad form to add black pepper to this. And a little bit of salt. Salt's important because you can put a slice of potato into something in order to reduce the salt in it because it soaks it up. So obviously you just need a little bit of salt there. Just a little. About 1/8 of a teaspoonful will do. Okay, good. All right, that's done and that's ready. Now, here's the sauce. Remember it? And there it is now with those pieces of potato. Absolutely, each one of them has gone and drawn into itself just a perfect amount. Tablespoonful of arrowroot and 2 tablespoonsful of red wine, or de-alkalized red wine, as in my case. And then you approach it. Remember as we did that in the first place in the springboard? And I said then I would just add this and then we'd be ready. Well, this, you pull it from the side of the stove, pour in the arrowroot, and there's the genius of arrowroot again. It's done. I mean, I just never get used to the incredible quality of that. It's done. You don't even have to boil it to get rid of a starch taste as you do with cornstarch. It's done. It's done. These are percolating up through here. Swedes are all ready. Everything lifted off. All I need to do is just get one of these sausages up here. And what I'm going to do with the sausage, as I said, if it's 30% calories from fat, hey, go for it. Have a whole sausage. If it is 18%, you're going to have to cut it into quarters like that, and we'll deal with it in just a sec. Right. Out with the plate. Customers are ready. Usual nice hot plate. And several spoons, and we can go. All right. First of all, oh, there it is. Oh, do you know, I would have made a great short order cook. Here is the potato. The potato scoop is down there, first of all, because there's a lot of potato, and so that scoops out first. then a scoop of the rutabaga, which goes in next. Okay. Then a scoop, where's it gone, of the tomato, the apple puree. Then a scoop of the mustard. See how it goes, little, all the way down. Then a scoop of the onion sauce, with the onions with all of that red wine and the seeds and the herbs in there. Phenomenal. Then the peas, all minty and shining, sweet and beautiful on that side. And then the sausage laid on, sunny side up. Strips of it like that. Finally, a little parsley rained from on high. Doesn't that make things look gorgeous? Red cloth, if you're going to venture before your friends. Come on, let's see how it tastes. Now, I happen to really love bangers and mash, but boy, I'll tell you, until Adels came up with that, I thought my days were over. Here is what a bangers and mash look like in the classic form. That's the way it is. Now, would you like to know just exactly how that gets together? It's 748 calories in the first place, and 658, we drop just a little bit. Fat, 52, drops down to 12. Saturated fat was 21 grams of saturated fat. That's for the whole day. 3 down to there. Calories from fat, 62%, drops to 18%. Even on your prevention scheme, that does it. 60 of cholesterol, 721, a little high on sodium, but look at this one here. Watch out for those bangers. They can really sock it to you in terms of salt. Okay, so a little piece of the banger soaked in that mushroom, that onion sauce with just a touch of the British mustard. Whew. I told you, it's like wasabi. Gosh, it's hot. Thank you, Jeeves, for mixing up that mustard. All good stuff, and it's wonderful fun to springboard. All right, we're going for a second meal. In this case, let's assume that you've made 2 or 3 times the amount of the onion sauce and made it all the way through to the end, except you didn't thicken it, okay? Then pile that into a little plastic bag or a carton or whatever it is, stick it in the deep freeze, make a note on it, you know, the stuff that we've been doing, bring it out and defrost it. Now, here's something that you can do in relatively short order. In this case, on top of this steamer, I simply took, you know, if you've got a mandolin, not the musical instrument, but a cutting device, you can take a potato and you can scrape those off and you slice those very quickly. And put down into you know, a pan just like that one. Now take some of this onion sauce and just scatter the onion sauce over the top, okay? And then take a little finely chopped Canadian bacon. That's very low fat, but just scatter a little bit of that on the top. And we've got about 2 ounces of this altogether in the whole dish. And then take another piece of that apple. I just love the idea of apple and potato together. Then take another layer of the potatoes. These have been cooked for about 4 or 5 minutes, and they're not really hot, but you can just scatter them on the top. You can make a wonderful decorative cover on the top of it by overlapping them nicely. I'll show you what that looks like in a second. And then pour some more of this stuff on the top, okay? And then press it down all over the surface so that it mingles down and not a single part of that is left untouched. I've read the Riot Act about my use of dish towels, you know. And then, out it comes. You put that in about 350 degrees, and it's going to look like this, side by side, you can see. Now, what I would do with this one, just before serving it, is I'd scatter a little of the bacon on the top, because that always looks nice, and then a little bit of parsley on the top of that. It'll look fun. Now, remember, it's actually dark brown for the very good reason is because it is that dark brown onion sauce. Now, depending on how moist it is, which I have absolutely no idea, because it does, you know, gather the moisture up as it goes along, you then take that and there becomes a great slab. Oh, doesn't that look nice? And it smells wonderful. It has the bacon smell to it, just a few peas on the side, and it just gives me just a moment just to savor it for you. Oh, taste the bacon. It's nice. God bless. And so finally, Marilyn, call home, or if anybody knows Marilyn, please call me and let me know where she is. I do want to get in touch with her. And now, washing up time. Right.